And we'll welcome you into another Monday edition of Sports Den here at our studio in Blaine alongside Ted LaRue. I'm Matt Dean. We're here to break down everything happening on our North Metro TV sports department. Blaine, Centennial, Spring Lake Park, all in action. We have concluded the regular season for one of our winter sports, believe it or not, Ted. Girls hockey is in the books, so we've got playoffs to talk about. We'll catch you up on that final week of the regular season, including a matchup of the top two teams in the state. But the show, we're going to close it with some basketball action. Boys hockey, though, going to lead off the show. We've got some key jockeying in Section 5AA where all three of our area schools are involved.
Yeah, this is a big time for boys hockey, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the program. This is the push to the playoffs. This is really when the playoffs begin, and I think the first team that we want to talk about is this Blaine Bengals team. Coming off a 2-2 tie against Maple Grove on Tuesday, Blaine boys hockey looking to get the 2 points on Thursday, traveling to Andover. Right off the opening draw, Brody Peterson puts it up where they put the bullseye in practice. Yeah, I'd say that's a bullseye into the top corner. Andover 1-0. Bengals looking to respond a few minutes later. Juicy rebound chance, but the reaction wasn't quite quick enough to be able to put it into the back of the net. Andover takes advantage of the missed opportunity. Peterson knows where the cookies are on the top shelf here. Second goal of the game, 13th of the year, and the Huskies are rolling early. We're still under 5 minutes since the drop of the puck. Keaton Coe gets it started, shooting it on net. KJ Sauer, I'd say a 3-0 lead is pretty sweet here after one period, working deep into the crease to be able to get that goal. Second period, Bengals get some momentum with a power play. Always follow your shot in the basketball. It works in hockey as well. Grady Bouch carousels his way all the way around the net for the wraparound goal to cut the lead in half. Third period, same score. Bouch making plays in Gretzky's offense. This time, he starts with behind the net, the feed out to Sam Pooter, and it looks like right place, right time. It appears that it deflects off of Bouch, but Pooter gets credit for the goal. But hey, we'll give him an A for effort on this one. It wasn't quite enough, though, as the Bengals fall 3-2.
And we had more boys hockey action on Thursday. SLPCR hosting 6th-ranked Rogers, a big test for SLPCR on a 5-game winless streak. SLP in the power play about 8 minutes in. Senior Avenue Belouse, though, has the best chance. Short-handed, scores his 9th of the year, the senior, and the 4th shorty for the Rogers Royals on the season. It was 1-0. And Rogers weren't done before the intermission. Senior Blake Sinclair with a point shot scored his 4th of the year. It was 2-0 Royals, end of one. SLPCR did not have a shot on goal recorded in the second period. We're outshot 15-5 in the first. Blake Sinclair, who scored the second Rogers goal, snapped it across to Brock Chetzlock, the Augustana commit. Less than 2 minutes later, Landon Medin off the half wall goes cross crease to Belouse, the senior's second of the game. 4-0 went to 6-0, and then Hudson Kotke tucked this one home eventually in a scramble out front. Senior Zach Bushy, you feel for him doing all he can. Royals outshoot SLPCR 54-8 in a 9-0 win.
Now Blaine looking to get back on the right track following that loss to Andover. Battle for Fogert Arena with those same Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids Red Panthers that we talked about on Saturday afternoon. Blaine put the power into power play in this game. Cruz Harper slamming the guitar and the one-man band skating around everybody. Bengals up 1-0. Under 4 to play in the first. Frankie Lou, there's those cat-like reflexes off the draw, puts Blaine ahead 2-0. His first goal since January 15th against Centennial. Midway through the second, Porter Bayer making it 3-0 in favor of the Bengals. Blaine once again now with the man advantage late in the second. Crown Cruz Harper the king of filth, because this was filthy, beating 3 SLPCR defenders in the small area. 4-0 Bengals. SLPCR now on the power play. They want in on the fun. Ashton Ryerson, some fancy stick work backhanded up top, cuts the Blaine lead to 3. It's the third time scoring here on the power play. A one-timer from Nate Walrath. That is beautiful. 5-1 Bengals early in the third. Red Panthers continue to fight. Scramble in front of the net. Jackson Barsness with the rebound goal, breaking his 5-game goalless streak. Sam Burns getting in on the act with a late tally for Blaine. It was a Bengal kind of day, getting the win 6-2 over SLPCR. Centennial is starting to put it together on the right time. We looked at Blaine, we looked at SLPCR. The Cougars are doing some good things. 3 in a row this week after wins over Elk River, Armstrong Cooper, and Andover. 12 goals in the last 3 games. They've now won 4 in a row dating back to last week and 10 of 13 games since December 13th. Nick Carls, he's been the one powering it. 7 points, back-to-back games with 2 assists each in the wins over the Huskies and the Wings. Cooper Bayer for Blaine had himself a nice week, tallying 3 assists in the last 2 games. Bengals break a 3-game winless streak. It's been a tough year, tough week for Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids, getting outscored 15-2. 2 weeks remain for our area teams, and now begins the push to the postseason. Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids will finish with 3 of their last 4 on home ice at Fogarty. The Red Panthers face Moundsview. That's a team that has 1 win in 20 games this season, so that's a favorable matchup for SLPCR to get into the W column. Centennial also finishes with 3 of 4 on home ice. They start off, well, it's not going to be easy. 6th-ranked Rogers. That's going to be a big test against the recent momentum that they've built that we were just talking about. Blaine finishes with 2 of 3 at Fogarty Arena against teams with above 500 records. But you got a 2-hour trip up to Duluth-Denfeld, kind of stuck in the middle there. Matt, as we pivot to seeing how these teams look and we stack up, we talk about the push to the playoffs over the next 2 weeks. Section standings kind of figuring themselves out.
It's getting to that time of year where we look at the records, we look at the wins and losses, we go, yeah, but what's it all mean? Here's what we're talking about. This is the projected Section 5AA standing, so you're going off the quality results formula. As we mentioned with our disclaimer, per usual, it goes to a coach's vote when the regular season wraps up. Now, what we can tell you, Maple Grove in 5AA, they're going to be the 1 seed. Undefeated right now in the section, as you see at 3-0-2. They're ranked number 9 in the state. It gets interesting from there because Centennial, as you see, are the projected number 2 seed. They've beaten the bottom 4 teams on your screen, but they have a head-to-head loss to Blaine. They still have a matchup here coming up with Totino Grace down the stretch of the season. They'll take a 4-game winning streak, as you saw, into Thursday night's meeting with Rogers. Blaine, they're 5-1-3 in the section right now, a loss and a tie to Andover. Thursday's upcoming matchup with Totino Grace, another section rival, I think locks up a top 4 seed for Blaine, although you can kind of put Blaine and Centennial anywhere in that 2 through 4 slot right now. SLPCR, they've still got something to play for. They're separated by just 2 places in the QRF from Anoka, as you see. Those 2 teams have already played the only meeting of the season. They tied. That doesn't help us. A couple of weeks ago. Next week, coming up on Tuesday, will be SLPCR's final game at Champlin. That's their last section game. The Tornadoes will play Andover this Thursday, so some separation in those identical section records could decide who's the 7, who's the 8. I think that's significant because I think there's a pretty big gulf between Maple Grove and whoever that 2 seed ends up being. You don't want to play the Crimson in the first round of the playoffs.
We covered Centennial and SLP Coon Rapids a little bit earlier on this season, and kind of like the girls' side, you've got Maple Grove and Centennial right at the top right now, but Blaine kind of in a pretty good spot in that 4 seed as compared to that number 5 seed. You look at section record, you look at overall record, you look at QRF. I think they're feeling pretty comfortable about home ice right now.
All right, boys hockey is great, but we have got a stellar matchup to catch you up on from Saturday on North Metro TV. And we'll start with actually the pregame, where Gabby Hughes, one of the great players in Centennial's history, was honored with a jersey retirement ceremony before the game. The Lino Lakes native and Centennial class of 2017 alum signed autographs, met with fans before the big matchup of 1 versus 2 in the state, a 2-time All-State selection and a Miss Hockey finalist in her time with the Cougars. Hughes scored 153 goals, 286 points in 121 games played, the program's all-time scoring leader. 4 years at UND, where she was a Patty Kazmer Award finalist, and she's in her 3rd season of pro hockey. Playing with the Ottawa Charge, she talked about her experience at Centennial.
To have my jersey raised here in the Centennial Arena is incredible. I can't even put into words how much it means to me and my family, and all the work that this community has done to get me where I am today, and to be able to have them honor me is pretty cool. Spent my whole life here at Centennial, from growing up to then in high school, and I think the best memory I have is making it to the state final. Didn't win, but that year was just filled with memories and a lot of lessons learned, and it was an incredible ride, so I'll carry that one with me forever. The few amount of women that are in the PWHL that have came from Centennial, I hope it just shows them that it's possible and that you can put do whatever you put your mind to. And I think hopefully when the little girls here, or even the high schoolers that see me and what I've done in hockey, they can know that they can do it too.
So Hughes, just the appetizer for a big-time matchup. Number 1 Centennial Spring Lake Park hosting number 2 ranked Hill Murray. A matchup of the top 2 teams in the state. Cougars riding a 10-game winning streak. CSLP would get the scoring started 6:43 in. Freshman Josie Kelsenberg, her 20th of the year in 24 games. 1-0 Cougars with the assist to Gannett's. 6 minutes later, Maddie Wolter's shot saved, but Avery Wagner knows you play to the whistle. The freshman's 13th. It was 2-0 at the end of 1 in Centennial Spring Lake Park's favor. Pioneers wouldn't respond till the 3rd. Reese Unclesbay off a pad save rebound from Weiland. Come on, Unk, it's 2-1 and game on. And then 5 minutes later, Lionel Lakes native and former Cougar JC Chatelain comes steaming in and scores 5-0. Why you got to do us like that, JC? How about this chance? Gannett's shot blocked. It caroms off the end boards, and Annabelle Bucciccone with her 6th of the year. Cougars in front 3-2, just under 10 to play. And then Emily Pohl just took over for Hill Murray. Sheer determination as she scores her 26th and 27th of the year, the latter of which came with 53 seconds left. The Pioneers stunned CSLP by coming back from 2-0 down and snapping the Cougars' 10-game winning streak in the regular season finale. So Centennial Spring Lake Park, their 10-game winning streak, as we said, snapped. They will end the regular season 21-3-1, and they will be one of the top 2 ranked teams in the state. We can say that safely going into the section playoffs. They've got wins over the other 3 teams in the top 5. This was their first matchup with the Pioneers. They're battle-tested with that very gauntlet of a schedule put together by head coach Sean Moline. Other action on the week, catching you up with the Blaine Bengals. After they lost to 4th-rated Minnetonka, they bounced back to beat Elk River on Thursday, tied Minneapolis in a 2-2 game scoreless OT on Saturday to close the regular season. Blaine finished 8-14-3 going into the section playoffs. Shout out to freshman Chloe Katzenmacher, who had 3 goals in those last 2 games for the Bengals. Blaine have a couple of good top line forwards, but looking to add out that depth. Katzenmacher will be one to watch, rounding out the line charts for Kala Ottman and the Bengals. Regular season's done. That means we've got at least one section bracket to look at. We have 7AA on the books here. Blaine will go on the road as the 5 seed at Grand Rapids Greenway. That's a rematch of a 2-2 tie that those 2 teams played in November the 29th at Yanmar Arena. An interesting note about 7AA, Forest Lake got the 1 seed. You talk about games counting the same in November as in this time of year. They beat Andover 1-0 in overtime back in the 2nd game of the year in November. So the Huskies, the 8th-time defending section champions for 8 years running, they are the 2 seed in the section tournament because of that head-to-head OT loss to Forest Lake. Blaine just edged out for playing a home game in that first round, and that's how it looks coming up for the playoffs in girls hockey section 7AA. We haven't gotten the official bracket for 5AA, Ted, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Centennial Spring Lake Park are going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point, and like we've been saying in previous weeks, it seems like everything is lined up to have a CSLP Maple Grove championship for however many years it's been in a row.
I think it's 5 now.
5 years in a row or whatever it's been at this point. It's just, we death, taxes, and those 2, the Crimson and 2 shades of red, the Crimson and the Cougars kind of matching up in the championship. But now we kind of shift from hockey over to the basketball court, and we've been talking here over the last couple of weeks about Blaine boys basketball. We talked about it last week, took 2 on the chin, 2 consecutive losses. They were looking to get back on the right track. Blaine hosting Spring Lake Park on Tuesday night, looking to get back to their winning ways from earlier this season. Panthers holding an early 4-2 lead. Shiloh Ayite, one of his one of his 2 threes from the top of the key here gives the Bengals their first lead. Gavin Olsen had himself a night. He drained 3 Bengal bombs on his way to a team-leading 21. 21 is good, sure, but 34 is Myron. Nolan Myron led all scores in this one, knocking it down from behind the arc. Myron's threat of the drive makes him so tough. There's the kick out to Nolan Roach for the trifecta, and then there's the threat again. So difficult to defend, the step back 3. We're all square at 26. Henry Siemens making the drive down 65. Bucket and the foul puts Blaine up in front. Under 3 minutes to go, the Panthers are rolling, and Myron gets the and one of his own to eventually tie this one up after the free throw. Early second half, the seesaw keeps swinging. Jacob to point, getting in on the act for SLP. Spring Lake Park looking to extend the lead. Myron extends his range to put the Panthers up 4. Blaine +2. It's a 3-point party tonight. Olsen puts the Bengals up by 5 from the corner. Now a 4-point Bengal cushion. 6 minutes to go. Olsen pushes the lead to 7. Next time down, I've got a fever, and the only prescription is Dr. Myron. Back to a 4-point game. Siemens next up in the game of can you top this from the volleyball line. Now a 9-point Bengal lead. Blaine finished strong down the stretch. Myron did too, but Aite putting the finishing touches on a very exciting back and forth Bengal victory, 75-67, the final tally.
It was kind of a get back on these guys for sure. I knew I could come out a lot better than I did last time and just try to execute and stick to the coach's plan for sure.
As a sophomore, this is kind of still a learning process for you, right? I think we all have to forget sometimes that you're still young and learning in this process. What is it about Spring Lake Park or just varsity games in general are you still getting used to?
I would definitely say the intensity and kind of just making the right play. Obviously, I have great captains I can look up to, and when things aren't going well for me, I know I can rely on them to help me out.
We're not the biggest team, so I go out there and I try to focus on rebounding a lot. And if the points come to me, they come to me. And tonight they did, and I took advantage of it. And I hit the shots that couple games I haven't hit, and it just felt good to hit those.
They try to get you in rhythm on the three-point line, but you're right. You're kind of a crasher on the inside too. So I don't guess, where are you more comfortable? Do you like playing more inside and then coming outside, or you guys seem pretty natural as a three-pointer?
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'm comfortable anywhere, but that's really because my teammates and coaches have a lot of confidence in me, and they allow me to shoot those threes, and coach gave me the green light to shoot them. And yeah, that's that.
Following 2 straight losses, the Bengals get 2 straight wins to regain the momentum back on track when they won 16 in a row playing that type of basketball. Game against Park Center on Thursday was tied at 35 at the break. Balanced scoring though. Aite and Gemta had 18, Olsen had 17, Siemens had 16. Really strong performance from most of the 4 of the 5 starters there for Bernie Ward's squad. Spring Lake Park has now fallen in 3 straight games dating back to last week. Thursday, the Panthers fell at home to Anoka, surrendering 70-plus points for the 4th straight game. Speaking of surrendering a lot of points, Centennial surrendered 88 and 86 points respectively to Rogers and Osseo this week. Zach Espinoza was the leader on Thursday night for the Cougars, putting up 20 points and shooting 50% from the floor. Centennial plays 3 games this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 2 of which are at home. Only Andover is above 500 for those upcoming matchups for the Cougs. Blaine is hitting the road for a pair this week, starting with a rematch with Champlain Park. They last met on December 16th, with the Bengals squeaking out a 3-point win. Spring Lake Park looking to get off the schneid a little bit on this current losing streak. Rogers, rival Tino Grace, should present some challenges following a road visit over to Mountain.
Well, we put our bracketology caps back on here. Take a look at what that all means for the section seedings right now. And again, projected as per the quality results formula to go to a coach's vote at the end of the year. Over in 5-4A, Spring Lake Park, the 2 losses that you outlined, Ted, last week, both out of the section. So Spring Lake Park still squarely in that top 3 conversation. They have one more head-to-head meeting with the Osseo team and the Orioles can move in to a potential 2-seed, or Spring Lake Park, we should say, can jump the Orioles into the 2-seed in the section with an upcoming game still against Osseo. Over in 7-4A, Blaine the 1-seed right now with their 16-2 overall record. They've already gotten 2 of those 7-4A wins against teams that they have swept in 2 meetings this season. They have upcoming rematches with Andover and Anoka. That'll be coming up next week. They've swept Coon Rapids and Centennial already this year. The Cougars are the 8th seed right now if you go off the QRF, but a chance to start stacking up some section wins. The 3 games that you saw coming up this week, Forest Lake tonight, Andover Wednesday, Cambridge Isani Friday, are all section games for the Cougars, so a chance for that team to start a turnaround and get some momentum going into the playoffs.
I mean, you look at Centennial right now, it's a 4-ranking QRF difference in 61-57 with Cambridge Isani. Overall records, kind of in the ballpark right now. So there could be a chance, certainly, for Centennial to kind of maybe vault themselves up those 7AA standings.
All right, we got you all caught up on the boys' side of hoops. Let's take you over to the girls' side. We're on Tuesday night. We were covering the other side of the Spring Lake Park and Blaine matchup. SLP stretched the lead out to 7-2 as Kendall Kraus hit her 7th three of the year. Panthers up 5 just over 2 minutes in. Lila Benke, the freshman, just off the top of the key, made it 11-6, hitting the trifecta for Spring Lake Park. The Diaper Dandies were shining for both teams. 7 players, all sophomores or younger, chipped in. Ellie Engelhoff, a 10th grader, for 3 there. With all the youth in this game, though, senior Marley Jansen reminded us that she's a one-woman wrecking crew. She had 9 to lead all scorers before halftime. Bree Cummings hit a 3 to tie it at 14 all. Blaine would close the first half on an 18-9 run and led 32-23 at the break. The threes kept coming. Alexis Earhart with the latest in the second half. Ann Wright saw the Bengals do it and thought, how about I have a go? Sophomore had 11 in this one. Jalen Bursey Dixon, she didn't get to double figures in this game, snapping a stretch of 6 in a row, but a 3-pointer got her to 7. Keep an eye on Amelia Ritchie, a sophomore with some jets and a bit of a 3-point shot. 3 of her 9 there, back to a 10-point lead. Ritchie would find Alicia Schloman. She was one of 6 different Bengals to hit from downtown in this game. Ritchie continuing to find Schloman. Blaine outscored Spring Lake Park 30-18 in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Schloman would get one final lay-in to finish with 9 points. It's a season sweep for the Bengals and their 8th win in a row over Spring Lake Park.
Well, I just feel like the last few games we've kind of been trying to get back to where we were in the beginning of the season, and teams know that we're fast, so they try to push that on us because, it works for us. So I feel like we had a timeout, and we just talked about slowing the ball down and working with our teammates, finding those openings, and after the break, I feel like we kind of found it, and it worked for us.
Yeah, and to be able to complete the series, beat them both times this year, what do you think was the biggest difference maker to make both those wins happen?
We're a really young team. We have 4 sophomores rotating in our lineup, and we're super, super big on being a team, working together, and I feel like we're picking each other up, and you don't see a lot of teams that are having fun no matter when they're up or they're down, and I feel like that bond we have with our teammates really helps us beat teams twice, 3 times in a row, and it helps a lot.
I think just seeing it. I'm always under the hoop. I'm always seeking it out. I think just having that mentality that I'm going to go get it. I'm going to jump over the girl no matter how tall she is, no matter how big she is. I'm going to reach over her head and go grab it. Like, having that mentality on every play is what pushes me to go get those rebounds.
And who maybe helped you have that mindset? Have you always had it, or is there someone in your life that helped enforce that for you?
I think growing up with older brothers helped me, because playing in our front yard, I'm 4'11", and they're all 6 foot tall, so if I want that ball, I'm gonna have to go get it. So I think growing up with older brothers has definitely given me that mentality, so I thank them for that.
Here's what else happened around the girls' basketball schedule for our North Metro TV area schools. Spring Lake Park, after losing to Blaine in that game, broke out of a 3-game skid with a win at Anoka last Thursday. Anna Smolich, it was her first game back after missing the previous 5 in that matchup with Blaine. She still didn't quite have that touch, it felt like, around the rim. She got back on track in the win over the Tornadoes, scoring 11 points up to her season average. So keep in mind, Spring Lake Park, they're just 4-8 after a 7-0 start, but they were missing perhaps their most talented individual scorer for about 5 games of that slump. Blaine, after they picked up that win against Spring Lake Park, they had 7 different scores with at least 7 points in the win at SLP. They followed that victory over the Panthers with a 74-70 win against Park Center. They have now been victorious, Blaine, in 3 of their last 4 after a 2-3 start to the new year. Centennial rebounded from a Tuesday loss at Rogers with back-to-back road wins in Osseo and Stillwater. Centennial are 4-1 in their last 5 games, their best 5-game stretch of the season, and they're now a couple of games under 500 at 9-11 on the season. Here's what's coming up for our area schools on the girls' side of the hardwood. Blaine with just 1 game this week. They'll play Wednesday night at home against Champlain Park. They already beat the Rebels 62-59 back in mid-December earlier this year. Blaine right now sit at 14-7 on the year. The Cougars in action tonight at Totino Grace, a 500 ball club at 9-9. Cougars trying to claw their way back to the 500 mark at 9-11. Spring Lake Park play Rogers Monday night on the road, a Royals team that have won 5 straight to get them 3 over the 500 mark. Wednesday, they'll be in action on the road again at Mounds View, an 11-9 club. That is a key section game against the Mustangs. And speaking of the section, Ted, you're wearing the bracketology cap in girls hoops today.
Oh yeah, let me put it on and try to do my best here. You talked about that Spring Lake Park Mounds View game. There's also a Centennial Andover game that we saw on the schedule. Those are going to be very key as far as section seeding is concerned. You look at where Centennial and Andover right there. Yeah, they're separated by 8 in the QRF, but record-wise, they're kind of just floating in the same stratosphere. That is going to take place on Wednesday, as Matt said, and then also on Wednesday, Spring Lake Park and Mounds View. So you shift over to 5AA right now. I mean, those, once again, you know, there's a decent amount of distance QRF-wise. We know that's not the be-all and the end-all, but similar records as far as overall and similar records as far as section. I mean, we got a long way to go. We make sure we say that at the beginning of all of this, before every show, but man, a collision course possibly yet again in the semifinals. Blaine at number 2, Centennial at number 3. Those 2 teams have made a habit of playing against each other up there in North Branch, so that's going to be really fun. So there's still a lot of battles, and this week, key section battles to maybe who's, like in Spring Lake's Park's instance, hey, who's going to be that 4 seed? Who's going to have home court advantage? And then on the other side with Centennial and Andover.
All right, that'll about do it for us here on Sports Den. We're into that fun time of year, talking playoffs. Girls hockey section playoffs will be starting next week. Make sure to keep tabs on our broadcast schedule for that. One game we have coming up, Thursday night wrestling action, cat clash on the mat between Blaine and Centennial. Bill Hupp on the call. Ted, you'll be there for that one. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun to kind of see these boys go at it on the mat. But you talking about girls hockey kind of getting going. It's an exciting time of year where it's going to be girls hockey. A couple of weeks later, it's going to be the boys. And then you go into basketball. So now we talk about the team's playoff push. This is our playoff push, you know, to kind of get going as we get towards March. You know, we're just dipping our toes into February, but the magic of March is right around the corner. So he's Matt Dean, I'm Ted LaBrue. Until next time, this has been Sports Den.